Hello everyone, welcome back to our PT365 series. This will be the fourth video in the environment section. We have already uploaded previous 3 videos and recently we have also started the economic section. Please do watch that videos also. So in this way we try to cover all the PDFs of PT365 explained in a comprehensive way, linking with the static and previous year questions so that you can prepare prelims the smart way, the upcoming prelims 2026. So without any delay, let us start. So like every video, I am giving the due credit to the Vision for this PT365 PDF. My role is here to explain the PT365 so that you can understand it. It is a very large document, very high density document. It is not very easy to understand. And I am also linking to static concepts, previous year questions, wherever I can find the linkage. And this video is only for educational purposes. So let us start with the PT365. So in our previous 3 videos, we have covered till this river dolphins. So let us start with this vultures. The next topic is vultures. So this next article is about vultures. What is the news? Wildlife Institute of India. As I have told in the previous videos also, there is an organization called Wildlife Institute of India. It has released its first pan-India assessment and monitoring of endangered species vultures. So it has conducted assessment and it has released a report on vultures, especially the endangered species of vultures. So if you see, there are 9 species of vultures in India. Across the world, there are almost 23 species of vultures across the world. In India, there are 9 species. As you can see here, 4 species are very threatened. Like this white-rumped vulture, its IUCN status is critically endangered. Same with slender-billed vulture. Same with Indian vulture. Same with red-headed vulture. The rest all vultures are not feeling that much threatened. You can see here. Egyptian vulture, it is given endangered, except that others are either least concern or near threatened. Bearded vulture is near threatened. Cinereous vulture is near threatened. Griffon vulture is least concern. Himalayan griffon is also near threatened. So you should focus more on the critically endangered vultures. Okay, because these numbers of these vultures are declining very fastly. So as you can see, the focus of Wildlife Institute of India is also on these 4 vultures. Okay, these 4 critically endangered species. So of all the existing vultures in India, this report of Wildlife Institute of India is focusing on the 4 critically endangered species. Okay, so we will see that, but first see what is a vulture. Okay, so vulture is an animal that scavenges on animal carcasses. So we have food chain. As I told you, you will read something about food chains in the ecology section, first part of the environment. So vultures are the animals which eat dead animals or the animals which are almost to dying. They will not eat healthy animals. Okay, they will not eat animals which are healthy and moving. Those animals which are on the verge of the death are already dead. So though the remains of these animals, vultures eat. So they have an ecological role. What if vultures don't eat these carcasses? Many bacteria will form on that dead carcasses and diseases will spread. But because vultures are eating these carcasses, there is nothing left and the remaining environment is saved from many diseases. So every species on earth has some ecological role. And you see, vultures are slow breeders. Okay, they lay only 1 egg a year. So this can be a statement in the prelims exam. And even that 1 egg they have laid every year, they have survival rate of only 60%. So you see, vultures are very vulnerable, sensitive animals. It is very important to protect them, but they are facing many threats actually. So if you go a few years back, this diclofenac, okay, diclofenac, which is a drug used to treat cattle, cows, buffaloes, etc. This is a drug used to treat this cattle, and when this cattle die, vultures eat the cattle. Then this drug goes inside this vulture, and because of this chemical, vultures are dying. So few years back, it was realized that why suddenly, like there are so many vultures in India, almost 70-75% of vultures in India, have disappeared over the years, in the last 40-50 years. Then we have found out the main reason. There are many threats, as you can see here. There is a loss of habitat, electrocution, okay, from the wires, etc. Okay, then they will also die by collision of trains. Like if a cow died collision on train on railway track, these vultures go and eat that cow on the railway track, and again they will get hit by the train, the next train. So there are many threats to the vultures. But one of the important is this drug diclofenac. Everyone knows this. So government has taken some action and banned this diclofenac. But the problem is the drugs which were, this is the, you can say, latest news from the past 2 years. It is not given in the PT365. I have added extra. So this diclofenac is one threat to us, threat to the vultures. So to replace this diclofenac, 3 drugs were introduced. To replace this diclofenac, because diclofenac is killing vultures, we have replaced this diclofenac with 3 other drugs. But the problem is, these 3 are also dangerous to the vultures, but we did not do enough research. We did not do enough studies. So vultures are dying from these 3 drugs also. So recently, in the past 2-3 years, we have realized this. So these 4 drugs together, okay, diclofenac, aceclofenac, nimesulide, ketoprofen. All these 4 drugs are very dangerous to the vulture. So a question can come like this. Aceclofenac, nimesulide, ketoprofen, which are often in use, are related to what? They will give 4 options. Some chemicals, some disease reducing chemicals, or chemicals threatening vultures, etc. They will give. Some antibiotics, etc. They will give. You have to choose the correct option. Okay, you can see here. So vultures numbers are dropping very severely from 40,000 in 2003 to 18,000 in 2015. So we are doing so many conservation initiatives for vultures. All vultures are covered in this species recovery program of Government of India. As I told you, for many species protection, some 20 to 23 species protection, government is carrying out some activity called species recovery program. So in this species recovery program, vulture is also included, and vulture is in Scheduled 1 of Wildlife Protection Act. See, here site status is not given because I think it is an appendix 2. It is not given here, appendix 2, I think. Please double check. But the problem is, vultures are not threatened in the remaining world. Actually, the numbers of vultures are increasing in the remaining world, but the number of vultures is decreasing in India. So in India, we have given its most importance and included in Schedule 1. We have established a Vulture Conservation Breeding Center in Assam and Pinjore in Haryana. We have came up with an action plan for vulture conservation in India. We have an action plan for vulture conservation in India. And this plan is applicable from 2020-2025. So this plan, we want to see the results of this plan. Okay, so many reports will come on the outcomes of this plan, including the present report. Assam-based foundation launched India's first vulture conservation portal. There is a vulture conservation portal also, and there is something called Vulture Restaurant in Koderma district, Jharkhand. So where is this vulture restaurant? It is in Jharkhand. Vulture restaurant means vultures will be like there is a safe space for vultures where they can eat safely safe food. Okay, like animals which are not contaminated with these drugs will be placed there so that vultures can eat. So now you know the basics of the vulture, and we know there are total 9 species of vulture and 4 of them are endangered, which are included in the recent assessment and monitoring of Wildlife Institute of India. So you can see almost 70%. One point in this report is that, so of the total area, total habitat area, of the total sites where they used to nest previously, 70% of that area was lost. This is in this report. I have added additionally. Okay, they have lost. And they depend very much on protected areas. Okay, so all the vultures existing in India, these protected areas like protected forest, national park, wildlife sanctuaries, etc. These protected areas hold 54% of all documented nest area. Okay, so protected areas are very important for these vultures. So it is focusing on these 4 critically endangered species: the white-rumped Indian slender-billed Indian vulture, slender-billed vulture, red-headed vulture. Okay, you should remember the names of these 4 vultures. At least you should be able to recognize, because in the news they are coming, they are in current affairs, and they are very critically endangered. So as a responsible official, you should know the vultures which are threatened in India. So first one is Indian vulture or Gyps indicus. it is mainly found in Madhya Pradesh and Rajasthan. See, where does Indian vulture is found? In the western and central India. And the largest place is Mukundra Hills. Mukundra Hills is in Rajasthan. Okay, Mukundra Hills is also a tiger reserve. White-rumped vulture. Okay, so it is concentrated in Himachal Pradesh. So where do you find the white-rumped vulture? In Himachal Pradesh. Okay, so remember like this: Himachal Pradesh, Himalayas area, white snow. So white-rumped vulture. So its rump, its chest is like, see here, its chest is like white in color. Okay. Then slender billed vulture. Okay, so its beak is very slender. Okay, it's concentrated in Upper Assam. So which kind of vulture you will find in Assam? Slender billed vulture. Red-headed vulture. Okay, see here the red head. Okay, red-headed vulture. It is found again in Madhya Pradesh. So central and western India are having most type of vultures. Some unique vultures are like white-rumped in Himachal, slender billed in Assam. You can find. Okay, this red-headed vulture depending on dense undisturbed forest and population extremely low and fragmented. Okay, so the population of red-headed vulture is extremely low and fragmented. Okay, so what you should know, the basic nature of the vultures and which kind of drugs are threatening them, what is Indian government doing for this, okay, and this recent report and its focus, okay, and habitat areas you can remember, okay, which type of vulture where you can find in India. So that is about the vulture. Now moving on to the camels. So camels, you know the animal camels. So first to see let us know the nature of these camels, then let us come to the news. First, what is camels? Camels is this animal which is also called the ship of the desert. You will find in this hot or humid areas. Okay, humid areas you will find. Sorry, dry areas you will find. Dryland ecosystems. Camels you will find in dryland ecosystems and are primarily reared in Rajasthan and Gujarat. So where do you will find most camels in India? 90% of camels in India are in Rajasthan and Gujarat. Camel rearing pastoralist communities you will find in this region. So some communities, some group of people who are based on camels are Raika, Rabari, Fakirani Jat, okay, Manganiyar. Okay, these communities are camel rearers. So question can be like this: Raika, Rabari, Fakirani Jat and Manganiyar. Who are these communities? Okay, camel rearing communities. Camel rearing pastoralist communities. So characteristics of camels: they can survive days without drinking water. They can travel long distances. They can feed on thorny desert plants. So these vegetation which are normally dangerous, like they have thorny spikes and they cannot be eaten by humans or other animals, camels can eat them. Camels hump store fats. See, there is a common misconception that hump camel is having. This is the camel hump. This hump camel is having. There is a misconception that it stores water in that, but it actually stores water. So you can see here there are two types of camel. One is one-humped camel, another one is two-humped camel. Okay. So in article we will discuss both. So remember these two images. So what is stored in this hump? They store fats, okay, which provide them energy when food is scarce, and they store water in their blood cells. Okay, not in their humps, in their blood cells they will store water. What is the role of camel? Their low water needs, selective grazing habitats, soft padded hooves help maintain vegetative diversity. So they have the hooves on the foot. They are very soft that so when they step on the plants they will not die. They will maintain the vegetative diversity. Okay. They have selective grazing habitats, that means they can eat the dangerous plants available in the desert. So you don't have to make special effort for their food. You don't have to provide continuous water for them. Okay. They will not destroy the vegetation on their path. So they're perfectly suited for this dry lands, desert vegetations. Okay. And they prevent desertification. Okay, like they will not overeat grass or they will not eat whatever available. Okay, and they will not drink too much water. So their lifestyle is suited to desertification. Okay, camel dung also enriches soil in these arid regions. Okay, so this is about the camel. So let us come to the news. As you can see here, camel population are rising globally. Okay, I think this is what I think vulture population are rising globally. I'm not sure of that. I think it is related to camels. Okay, I have read somewhere. I think it is about camels. Camel population are rising globally, but in India specifically Rajasthan and Gujarat. But in India specifically in Rajasthan and Gujarat, camel populations are decreasing. In the world they are rising, but in India they are decreasing. Okay, in India they are decreasing. Why they are decreasing? Because there is a lack of economic incentives for traditional herders and it has made it unsustainable to maintain these animals. So our lifestyle is changing. Okay, so traditionally they were dependent on camel milk, okay, the products from camel, using camel for traveling, etc. But nowadays our lifestyle changed. Now we have vehicles. Okay, very few people use camel milk, and many young people also feel shy to do that camel rearing. Okay, they think it is backward. Okay, so there are no incentives for the traditional herders. So the number of animals are decreasing because there is no incentive. Okay, there is no market for camel products. So let us see the news. So what is the news? So our Ministry of Fisheries, Animal Husbandry and Dairying, our ministry has partnered with an international organization called Food and Agriculture Organization. So our ministry has partnered with another international organization, and they have released something called draft policy paper on camels. So they have studied camels, and now they are proposing a sustainability initiative for increasing the number of camels called National Camel Sustainability Initiative. Okay, what are the highlights of this draft policy paper? So it says that India's camel population declined by more than 75% since the 1970s. So our camel population has declined more than 75%. What is driving this population decline? Decline in traditional economic utility. Decline in traditional economic utility, like I said, like we are no more using camels for traveling purposes, okay, for carrying our luggage, etc. And we are not drinking camel milk, okay, many people are not drinking camel milk, okay. Now we are having this new chemicals and junk food, etc. And there is a loss of grazing lands for camels in this Rajasthan, Gujarat area. And then there is environmental stress, desertification and invasive species, etc. So desertification, the expansion of this desert from this Rajasthan, Gujarat area to eastwards towards Aravalli Hills, etc. is desertification. And invasive species, introduction of new species which can threaten the camel population in this region. Okay, and underdeveloped markets, like I told, no one is drinking camel milk these days, so there is no marketing of camel related products or even sale of camels. If I sell a camel, no one will buy because no one is using camel anymore. Okay, so these are driving population decline of camels in this region. So this is about the draft policy paper on camels. So now here it is given the different type of camel breeds in India, different types of camel breeds in India. So as I told you, basically there are two. One is single humped dromedary camels, and the other one is double humped Bactrian camel. So you can see here single humped dromedary camels, double humped, okay, Bactrian camels. See here, this is in the desert, hot desert area in Rajasthan, Gujarat. You can see here, this is in the like cold desert area, okay, in our Himalayan region, etc. So these single humped dromedary camels, different type of camels in this single humped dromedary camels you will find in Rajasthan, okay, Bikaner, Jaisalmer, Mewar, Kutch, okay, in Gujarat, etc. So you can see they are famous for their heavy build, okay, cart pulling, heavy draught work. They have strength and endurance, stamina and speed, okay, and their milk yield is good. Okay, they are used as draught. That means for agriculture, ploughing, etc. Okay, for carrying our luggage, etc. Then there is one special type of camel called Karai camel. Okay, there is a special type of single humped dromedary camel called Karai camel in this Kutch region. It is capable of swimming up to 3 kilometers in sea water. See, from Kutch region in this Gujarat, which is like there is this run of Kutch where there is sea water frequently comes in the land and goes out. Okay, so in this region they can even swim in the sea water up to 3 kilometers. They are adapted to coastal and mangrove ecosystems. They can survive by grazing on the mangroves. They can be domesticated. I will show you why this vision is giving all this information here. Okay, why so much of information about this particular camel? Because you can see this is a different species. All of these are same common camels, but this is one is unique, and there is a previous year question on this. UPSC has already asked a question on this Karai camel. See here, okay, I think it is in 2016, I'm not sure, but there is a previous year question on this Karai camel. So what is unique about this Karai camel, a breed found in India? So the statement given is it is capable of swimming up to 3 kilometers in seawater. So it is true. At the time, those aspirants in that exam, they may know, they may not know. Okay, it survives by grazing on mangroves. Okay, now after reading this PT365, we know it is true. It lives in the wild and cannot be domesticated. Now we know this is wrong, because some people are domesticating it, some people are using it as like part of their cattle, their animal husbandry. So that is why they are giving here can be domesticated. and its milk is rich in nutrients and has potential therapeutic benefits. Okay, preserved by Rabari and Fakirani Jet tribes. Okay, so we have seen many tribes who are rearing camels, and who rears these particular Karai camels, Rabari and Fakirani Jet tribes. Now coming to the double-humped Bactrian camel. So where is this Bactrian camels? Where is the habitat? So across the world, if you see, they are available from Eastern Europe to East Asia. Okay, from these Eastern European countries to East Asia. Okay, like this Mongolia, etc. And particularly Iran, Afghanistan, Pakistan, Kazakhstan, Mongolia, China. In India, they found exclusively in high altitude cold desert of Ladakh. So the only place you will find these double-humped Bactrian camels is in cold desert of Ladakh. Okay, high altitude cold desert of Ladakh. So what are the characteristics of this double-humped Bactrian camel? They have two humps as energy reservoir. They store fat, not water. They have very thick coat, thermal shield. You can see they have very thick coat compared to the other camel. And see their eyelashes, very large. Okay. They have broad feet. Okay. They have long eyelashes, sealable nostrils as a dust defense. So they can seal these nostrils when there is high dust. Okay. Utilize thorny, dry and sparse plants. Okay. Whatever the vegetation, rare vegetation available in that region, they can eat. Okay, they can even eat snow to partially meet water needs. Okay, they are indicator of arid. Arid means dry. They are indicating of arid biomes, dry ecosystems. Okay, they are flagship species for Central Asian steppe conservation. This northwest China, Mongolia, etc. In that region, these species are very, very important. Okay, these species are very, very important in this northwest China, Mongolia region. Okay. They are key to Silk Road and cultural exchange. Okay, so in ancient times, if you see during the times of Buddhism, etc., there is something called Silk Road. Okay, so the Silk Road you will read in ancient history. So this particular animal, double-humped Bactrian camel, is very important for this Silk Road trade. Okay, in that region, they are capable of carrying loads up to 250 kg. Note wild Bactrian camel. These whatever we have talked, we are talking about domestic ones. Okay, so now we are talking about wild one. Okay, in the wild Bactrian camel. Now they have become a distinct species because they have evolved differently. It is critically endangered. So usually we will not give IUCN status to domesticated animals. Domesticated animals means we are raising them for milk or for some other economic utility. So they will have sufficient numbers with humans. So wild animals have to survive on their own. Okay, and they will be threatened by human activities. So usually you will find IUCN status for wild animals only. So the IUCN status of this wild Bactrian camel is critically endangered. Usually it is found in this isolated desert Gobi habitats, Gobi desert in China, Mongolia, etc. So that is about the camels. So we have seen many species. We have seen lions, we have seen tigers, we have seen elephants, we have seen dolphins. Okay, we have seen crocodiles, we have seen vultures, we have seen camels. Okay, so this is what we read in biodiversity. Now next comes the wild yak. Okay, wild yak. See, we are talking about wild one, not domesticated one. So this wild yak, you can see the image here. It is in Scheduled 1 of Wildlife Protection Act. Okay, there is something called Convention for Migratory Species, CMS. So migratory species means species which move from one region to another region. So it is included in this Appendix 1 of Convention on Migratory Species. Its IUCN status is vulnerable. So first let us know about this wild yak, then we will see the news. So where will you find this wild yak? You will find in alpine tundra regions. Alpine tundra means like I'm not talking about Arctic tundra in this North Russian region or Canada, Greenland. I'm not talking about the tundra. Alpine means mountain. So any large mountain like this Mount Everest, when you go beyond some height, there will be only snow. No, there will be no trees. So that kind of artificial, not artificial, that cold regions because of the height, not because of the latitude, are called alpine tundra region. So you will find in the cold high mountain regions of this Himalaya, Tibet, etc. and in grasslands, cold desert regions of North Tibet with mountain areas ranging from 4,000 to 6,100 meter elevation. So this is the habitat of wild yak. So they are native to China, India. Usually in the past they used to reside in Bhutan, but now they have gone extinct from Bhutan. So you will find this wild yak only in China and India. What are the key characteristics? They move seasonally from higher valleys to lower valleys. So when there is winter, it is too cold in the higher regions. So during those regions, they will move to lower valleys. They feed mostly on grasses and sedges. So vegetation only they will eat. Yaks are gregarious. Gregarious means large groups. See, if you see these movies like Lion King, so these kind of animals are shown like running in large groups. It is called gregarious behavior. They will always move in large groups. It is called gregarious behavior. So yaks are gregarious, often aggregating into groups of more than 100 individuals, although smaller groups of 10 to 20 are also common. What are the major threats? Poaching, that means hunting the animal, including commercial poaching for meat. Okay, interbreeding between domestic and wild yaks. So usually domestic species and wild species, because they have been separated many hundreds of years and living in different environment, they will evolve differently. So interbreeding between them may result in some harmful consequences in the future offspring. Okay, so these are some kind of major threats wild yak is facing. Now let us come to the news. First ever chromosome level genome of Indian domestic yak, a descendant of wild yak, was assembled by specialists from ICAR institutions. Okay, Indian Council for Agricultural Research. So we have brought this wild yak into our habitations and we have domesticated it. So now it has evolved into a different species, domestic yak or Indian yak. The chromosome level genome of this Indian yak now we have assembled. We have successfully decoded. So now we know the biotechnology. When we have genome of a particular animal, we can identify the different type of diseases it may face and how to protect it from its diseases. We can even copy any unique features it is having. We can increase its milk yield, okay, using genetic engineering, etc. So that is why the study of chromosomes of any animals, including humans, is important from genetic engineering perspective. So we have done this. That is why it is in news. So let us see about the domestic yak. Here we have seen the wild yak. Now let us see the Indian yak or domestic yak. It is called ship of the Himalayas. It supports high altitude. So if you see the camel, it is the ship of the desert. Yak is the ship of the Himalayas. It supports high altitude communities with meat, milk and transport. And it is found across Himalayan region, Tibetan Plateau, Pamir Mountains. Pamir Mountains is in this northern northern Afghanistan, Tajikistan region, Pamir Mountains, okay? Just above India. From this Tibetan Plateau, Pamir Mountains, Tajikistan, Mongolia and Siberia in Russia. So this is the region you will find this yak species. And characteristics: have larger lungs and hearts than cattle. So they have larger lungs and heart than normal cattle. Herbivorous. Okay, they are herbivores, they are vegetative. They are not omnivorous, they will not eat other animals. So that is about the wild and domestic yak. Moving on to another news. So we are talking about Tamil Nadu's endangered species conservation. So a particular state has taken a particular measure for protection of some species. So it is also becomes important news for us. So Tamil Nadu has sanctioned 1 crore for conservation of 4 endangered species. So some species are more important for some particular kind of state, okay, some particular state, okay, because they are very connected to their culture, their eating habits, or the way outside world sees them. Okay, like we have seen during lions presently reside only in Gujarat. So lions becomes the pride of Gujarat. If lion numbers falling continuously, Gujarat state will be worried more than any other state. In the same way, now Tamil Nadu is taking some measures for conservation of 4 species, which are lion-tailed macaque, Madras hedgehog, striped hyena, hump-headed marshirfish. So let me show you the images first. Okay. So actually this is one I don't like. When you read about an animal without even seeing its picture, without even knowing the animal, so it's a very difficult thing to understand. That's why this environment section, many people will feel like by-hearting and very big headache thing. Okay. So if you don't see the image, you will not know that macaque here is a monkey species. Okay. And what is hedgehog, hyena, okay, marshirfish, etc. So any animal, so if it is given, image is given here, we are seeing here. If it is not given here, I am showing you the images. So see here, lion-tailed macaque. So see the name, lion-tailed. Maybe its tail may be resembling the lion. Okay. Okay, Madras hedgehog. You can see here, small animal. Striped hyena. Okay. Hump-headed marshirfish. You can see here. Okay. So let us see the statuses and details of the species. Now you can forget the news, small news. Just these animals becomes important. Lion-tailed macaque, it is very endangered. This animal you should remember. Okay, endangered. It is in CITES Appendix 1. It is in the Schedule 1 of Wildlife Protection Act. So both world and India are giving very high importance. Where you will find this lion-tailed macaque? In the Western Ghats, Tamil Nadu, Kerala, Karnataka. What are the threats? Extensive agriculture, urbanization and mining are the threats this lion-tailed macaque is facing. Okay, it survives in fragmented rainforest patches in this Western Ghats. Okay, that is about the lion-tailed macaque. Then comes the Madras or bare-bellied hedgehog. Its IUCN status is least concern. So as of now, least concern, numbers are enough. Maybe the numbers are decreasing rapidly. So that is why Tamil Nadu government is taking initiative right now. It is not listed in CITES. But in India, Wildlife Protection Act, it is listed in Schedule 2. So throughout India, you will find it. Illegal pet trade, logging, wood harvesting are the threats it is facing, locally known as thorny rat. Okay, these are nocturnal species found in semi-arid regions. Okay, not too dry, not too wet, semi-arid. Striped hyena. So it is in Appendix 3 of CITES listing. So Appendix 3 means it is not present in CITES Appendix 1 or Appendix 2. When a country specifically requests to include a particular animal, then they will put in Appendix 3. So more likely that India has requested the CITES to include this striped hyena in it, so it has placed in Appendix 3. So when something is placed in Appendix 3, no other country usually allows the transport or the movement of these animals without the permission of India. Okay, usually this happens when something is put in Appendix 3. Its icing status is near threatened. So it is in the Schedule 1 of Wildlife Protection Act. You will find in Afghanistan, Algeria, Pakistan, India, etc. Okay, not so you will find this in all these countries. So any country can request the CITES to put in this Appendix 3. What are the threats? Persecution, killing by poisoning, okay, decreasing sources of carrion. So it will eat the dead animals like vultures. So decreasing sources of carrion is also one threat. It is a natural scavenger that regulates diseases just like vulture, because by eating dead animals, it is regulating the diseases. Witnessing a sharp decline across the Mudumalai Tiger Reserve. So its habitat is in all these countries, but in Tamil Nadu, this Mudumalai Tiger Reserve is in Tamil Nadu. So in Tamil Nadu, the numbers are decreasing, so that is why Tamil Nadu government is conserving it. Hump-headed mahshir fish. So it is critically endangered. This animal you should remember. See this hump-headed mahshir fish. This animal you should remember. It is critically endangered. In CITES, it is not listed yet. Okay. In Wildlife Protection Act, it is also not listed. Okay. So you can see the conservation measures is starting for this animal recently. We have not recognized this animal till now. We have not taken enough measures. But now Tamil Nadu government has taken in the initiative. You will find it in the Tamil Nadu, Kerala, Karnataka. So what are the threats it is facing? Dams, destructive fishing, harmful fishing methods. Okay. Introduction of invasive species that either compete with this fish or kill this fish. It is called Tiger of Kaveri for the fight it puts up. So when you try to catch this fish, it puts severe fight. So that is why it is called Tiger of Kaveri. So that's about the wildlife species in this section. Okay, so if you see, so we have discussed about so many animals. We have discussed about cheetah, tigers, big cats, small cats, elephants, crocodiles. Okay, we have seen lions also somewhere here. We have seen dolphins, vultures, camels, wild yak, domestic yak, okay, and many species conservation in Tamil Nadu. So we have finished this first section, wildlife and conservation. Now under biodiversity, we are moving to the next section, which is forests. Okay. So this is about the Van Samrakshan Evam Samvardhan Amendment rules. So I think it is translated into one means forest, Samrakshan, pardon me if I'm wrong. Samrakshan means conservation, okay, Avam means end, Samvardhan means some kind of promotion, protection, amendment rules. So these days actually government of India is releasing, putting names, Hindi names only, okay, the script is English but the name is in Hindi, as you can see here. So it becomes, don't go into the debate whether a Hindi imposition is right or not, do not go into the debate, because you want to be a government employee, you want to be a public servant. So whether you like it or not, you have to follow the policy of government. First comply with it, okay. So for practical necessity, I suggest everyone to learn the basic English. Even if you are a non-Hindi aspirant, your mother tongue may not be Hindi, but it definitely helps if you learn the basic English. Because see this name, if you know Hindi, you will understand this. This means forest conservation and protection or promotion amendment rules. You don't have to remember the name. But if you are a non-Hindi aspirant and you don't know the meaning of this, you have to separately by heart. And this is not the only act. All the acts right now coming from the government of India or being amended by the government of India, they are putting Hindi names and in English script. Okay. So it helps to learn some basic Hindi. So Van Samrakshan Evam Samvardhan Amendment rules. So Ministry of Environment, Forest and Climate Change notified the Van Samrakshan Evam Samvardhan Amendment rules 2025, marking significant changes in the Van Samrakshan Evam Samvardhan rules 2023. Okay, so there were rules also. First, let us know this. So there is an act called, let me explain in the clear order. There is an act called Forest Conservation Act 1980. Okay. So just let me explain the background. So first let me explain the whole background, then that article becomes important because it is not arranged in a logical order. Let me explain it in the logical order. So we have forest. So which government has authority over forest? Actually, before 1976, forest is a state subject. Forest is a state subject. So if you want to convert a forest into a non-forest use, so forest have some ecological benefits. Like forest give us more oxygen, it regulates the climate, it takes carbon dioxide, it acts as a sink or storage of the place of storage of carbon dioxide. It is the habitat of many wildlife animals. So all the animals we are seeing, they live in the forest. If we kill forest, those animals will also die. And forest also have many economic benefits like honey, okay, leaves, etc. Many herbs, spices, etc. So we need forest. There is a policy for us, okay, National Forest Policy 1988. As per the policy, we should have at least 33%. It is generally suggested across all the geographical area people are living, at least 33% of that geographic area should be occupied by forest for a proper environment, proper climate. Okay, we will come to that point in the next article. So understand, forest is a state subject before 1976. That means state governments have the authority to allow conversion of forest to non-forest use. So let's say I am a businessman. I want to cut down a forest. I want to cut down forest and I want to establish a factory there. Or I want to cut down a forest, I want to start agriculture there. I want to cut down a forest, I want to use all the wood for some other purpose. So these are non-forestry purposes. We will lose all the natural benefits of forest. So before 1976, if you have to do this, you have to take the permission of state government because it is a state subject. But every state is giving permissions for destroying forests. We are losing our forests at a rapid pace. And there is no uniformity. Some states are behaving responsibly, some states are not behaving responsibly. So we are losing our environment and it affects the whole country. So in 1976, under Indira Gandhi government, this forest was moved into concurrent list. So in 1976, we have shifted this forest into concurrent list. That means both state and center can make laws. But if center make laws, the law of the center will prevail. So using this power, central government or Parliament of India has made an act called Forest Conservation Act 1980. So they have made an act using the power from the concurrent list in 1980. So under this act, anyone who wants to divert forest area for non-forest purposes, anyone who wants to destroy forest, they have to take permission from the center. It is mandatory. Okay. Then what is forest? The question is, what is forest? In this act, whatever government says forest, it is the forest. Even if there is a, like imagine when I say forest, what comes into mind? Dense trees at a closed space, that is the common image of the forest. Even if there is a forest and government says no, I will not recognize it as a forest, I will not declare it, I will not notify it as a forest, it will not come under forest. So only government has the power to notify which can be seen as forest, which is not a forest under this act. So many people started criticizing government again. Now previously state government is used to do whatever they like. Now central government is doing whatever it likes. If it wants to favor a businessman, it says no, it is not a forest. If it wants to hurt some person, it says it is a forest. So it becomes whims and fancies of the people in power. So now the matter went to court in 1996. In 1996, Supreme Court in a case called T.N. Godavarman case. Okay, so all of this is very, very important for prelims also. In 1996, Supreme Court in T.N. Godavarman case now expanded the definition. No, Government of India, you cannot just say whatever I say is the forest. There should be a rational methodology. So it says dictionary meaning. Take the dictionary meaning. So what is forest? Multiple trees, dense trees, like living closely, spaced closely, having a large area with supporting so much of wildlife. Only tribal communities, only few tribal communities will live, not normal people will live. This is the dictionary meaning, normal image of the forest. Whether government declares it or not, the dictionary meaning of forest shall be taken as the forest. So let's say I have brought some land from a person and it has a forest-like thing. It suits the dictionary meaning. So even if it is my private area, even if it is not declared by Government of India as a forest, still I need permission of center to convert this forest area, which is my private land, to non-forest purposes. So on one hand, it has expanded the definition of forest because ultimately the what is the intention of this Forest Conservation Act? To truly conserve all the forest, not to conserve only those areas as per the whims and fancies of the politicians. To conserve all the real forest is the intention. So with that intention, Supreme Court has expanded the definition. But the problem is this definition is too wide. Now we have come across some cases like sometimes we need some road and railway line through the forest. It is very important from the country's perspective. Take India-China border. This is China. This is India. China is not a democracy. So our border is very sensitive. We have to protect it from China. China builds all the military bases here. Now this is forest area. If we want a military base, it becomes very complex. We have to follow a very rigid methodology set by the Supreme Court. Even for sensitive purposes like military defense, etc. Okay, strategic reasons also. So there is a tension in the following 20 years because of the judgment of the Supreme Court. Because Parliament has said one thing, Supreme Court expanded the definition of the Parliament. Now there is a friction between court and the Parliament and the government. This continued till 2023. In 2023, government has amended this Forest Conservation Act 1980 and very clearly defined only this is the forest. Simply put, it said again, it has amended the Supreme Court judgment by saying, again sir, whatever I say forest, it is the forest. So it has taken back the control from the Supreme Court. Okay, after 2023, again Supreme Court did not say like, no, this will be nullified, only this will be applicable. Supreme Court has said, okay, this new amendment act I will recognize. So whatever the land that is declared in this act can be a forest, but till they come up with a clear map of, sir, this is the forest area, this is the forest in Andhra Pradesh, this is the forest in Madhya Pradesh. Till they demarcate, my definition will stand. That is the only thing Supreme Court has said. Otherwise, till they make the rules, after they make the rules, after they come up with clear definition and maps of the forest in India, this new latest act will stand. Okay, this act was amended and stand. Now, what is the present news? Now, to implement this amendment act they have made in 2023, government has came up with some rules in 2025. That is the present news. So, hope you have understood the whole background. So, it is a friction between Parliament of India, Government of India and Supreme Court. So, recently, Government of India has made a new act and has taken the control back. So for this amendment act, now this Forest Conservation Act 1980, it was amended in 2023. Now government has notified the rules for this amendment. Okay, see the news again. Ministry of Environment, Forest and Climate Change notified the Van Samrakshan Evam Samvardhan amendment rules, making significant changes in the Van Samrakshan Evam Samvardhan rules. So the rules issued in 2023 for this act was modified again in 2025. What are the rules? Compensatory afforestation land allowed to be either transferred to Forest Department or to be notified as protected area under Indian Forest Act 1927. See, let me tell you one thing again for the background. See, first, what is the procedure? Now we are telling, as per the Forest Conservation Act 1980, the clearance has to be given by the central government. State have lost the power. What is the procedure for this? So we have like this. So this is the center at the top. These are states, state 1, state 2, state governments are here, state 3. So government has something like Chief Conservator of Forest. Okay, see this Chief Conservator of Forest, I will write as CCF. So central government will put its representative CCF. Okay, Chief Conservator of Forest, CCF. These are like regional representatives of center. Okay, CCF. Then we have Forest Advisory Committee. So there is a committee below the center, Forest Advisory Committee. They will first study the issue. So this is how it happens. So somebody wants to convert some forest land into non-forest use. I want to cut down some forest and I want to establish a factory in it. Or Ministry of Defense says, or Indian Army says, or give me this area. I want to establish a military base here. So the proposal will be initiated by the state government or someone else. Okay, first it will go to this CCF. Then it will go to the center. This Forest Advisory Committee will study. On the recommendations of the Forest Advisory Committee, center will give the permission. So now come here. First, stage 1 is the in principle approval. As per this Forest Conservation Act, approval is granted if certain conditions are met, like allocating funds for compensatory afforestation. So compensatory afforestation means, see, now we are talking about this Forest Conservation Act. This is very complex. That's why I'm explaining everything together. So this we have Forest Conservation Act 1980. Then we have another thing called, under this act, this Forest Conservation Act, if you are converting this forest area into non-forest area, there is a clause saying that you are destroying some forest area, so you should compensate it by creating another area with trees. Okay, this is called compensatory. Okay, compensatory afforestation. Okay, this is called compensatory afforestation. I am resorting to deforestation here. I am removing some trees. So as a compensation, let's say I have removed some forest area in district A. Now I have to create new kind of forest, new place with full trees, so that some of the ecological functions of the forest area can be restored. This is called afforestation. It is compensatory. To compensate my deforestation, I am resorting to afforestation. It is mandatory. I have taken, let's say, 1 acre of forest area. So in another 1 acre of forest area at some other place, I will compensate for this deforestation with afforestation. It is called compensatory afforestation. Okay, this is under Forest Conservation Act. It is in the Forest Conservation Act. Then government has made another act called Compensatory Afforestation Fund Act. Okay, it is in 2016. It has brought a new act to create a new fund to facilitate this compensatory afforestation. So what is this new compensatory afforestation fund or CAMPA fund? I will tell you. So I am resorting to this deforestation, and let's say it is equal to this, all these trees I have cut is equal to 1 crore. So I will deposit this 1 crore into the fund of the government, afforestation fund of the government. Okay, 1 crore into this fund of the government, and they will use it to create this new afforestation. So to manage this fund, they have created some authorities like Compensatory Afforestation Management Authority. Okay, CAMPA at state level, and there are at the central level, and there are state compensatory authorities also. Some authorities also they have created under this new act, creating new funds, new authorities at union level and state level to facilitate the compensatory afforestation under this Forest Conservation Act 1980. Okay, hope you have understood this. I have not confused you. So there is a concept of compensatory afforestation. That's what I'm telling. It is one of the prior requirements to give permission. If you want to cut some forest area, first you comply with my requirements. Deposit this much money before this much time. So there are some conditions to be met. So approval will be granted if some conditions are met. Okay, in principle approval means it is the stage 1 approval. Like basic things you can start. See, there are some activities which if you perform, you cannot come back. Like if there is a 1 acre of forest area, I can remove 10 trees. I can put some sand on that place. It is okay. It's not that devastating, because if I leave it at that phase, again trees will grow. Sand is okay. But if I put a cement on it, now there is no coming back. Trees cannot grow on that cement. So in principle approval is starting some non-harmful activities till central government gives its final approval. Okay, why in principle approval? To save time. Okay, so even this in principle approval will be given only after meeting some minimum conditions like allocating funds for compensatory afforestation. Then the stage 2, which is final clearance, will be given only after that particular state confirming compliance with all stage 1 conditions. Okay sir, this particular entity wants some forest area. They have met all the basic conditions. They have given money. They have met the deadline. They have submitted the plan. They are ready to perform this compensatory afforestation, etc. When state government certify, central government will give final clearance. Okay. Now, up to 5 hectares, this chief conservator of forest, who is the representative of central government, he can give the clearance. Okay. Up to 5 hectares, and not for mining. For mining, he cannot give. Beyond 5 hectares or any kind of mining proposal, whether it is 5 or more, less than 5 or more, for any kind of mining proposals, for any projects having forest removed from more than 5 hectares, only ministry will give. Okay, Ministry of Environment, Forest and Climate Change will give, and they will give based on the advice of Forest Advisory Committee. Okay, so as I told you, there is state, there is chief conservator of forest in every region representing union government. So there is union. Now union will have this Forest Advisory Committee. So every state will have its regional chief conservator of forest. Okay, so proposal is coming. Now state has to, before this amendment I'm saying, whatever the present news, before this news, this is the scenario. So state will first ensure everything is complied. Now I am the entity, I want to cut some forest, I want to convert into non-forest use. So state will put some conditions. Deposit this money, follow this deadline, submit this plan. It will put some conditions to me. When I will meeting these conditions, state government will inform this chief conservator of forest. If it is less than 5 acre, my proposal is for less than 5 acres, he will give this stage 1 and stage 2 approvals. There is no need to go to the ministry. But if it is more than 5 hectares or if it is mining proposal, this chief conservator of forest, he cannot give final clearance. He will forward it to the union government. Then they will forward to the forest advisory committee. They will study and they will recommend. They will give recommendations to the ministry who will give the final clearance. So this is how it is operating. Okay. So this is before the present act, the present rules. Now what are the present rules? What are the present modifications? If you see, so these are modified, these are notified by central government under this Van Samrakshan Evam Samriddhi Adhiniyam 1980 Forest Conservation Act as amended in 2023. So compensatory afforestation land allowed to be either transferred to forest department or notified as protected area under Indian Forest Act 1927 or other laws. So I told you previously, under Forest Conservation Act, if you are converting some forest area into non-forest area, you have to create another area with enough vegetation. You have to resort to afforestation at another area as a compensation. Now what happens? I have planted so many trees. Now I have implemented this compensatory afforestation. Now I am going with my plan. Government is satisfied because I have complied with all the conditions. Now what happens to this new afforested area? Now, till now, it is mandatory to declare this as the protected area. Till now, before this amendment rules, state government has to declare it as the protected area under Indian Forest Act or some other act. But now they are giving two options. The state government either can declare them as protected areas or they can transfer it to the forest department. They can either declare it as a protected area or they can transfer to the forest department. So what is compensatory afforestation? As I told you, it is done in lieu, okay, to compensate for the diversion of forest land for non-forestry use under the Forest Conservation Act 1980. Mining of critical or strategic minerals. So there is a list of minerals declared by Government of India as critical minerals like lithium, etc. And there are some strategic minerals. Strategic means which are very important in India but may not be available in India. Okay, there are some minerals among all the minerals which are very important to India. Like there is iron. India needs iron, but we are not that much vulnerable to iron because iron is available in India in sufficient quantity. But take lithium. Lithium is very important for all the new technologies, all the electric vehicles, etc. But there are no enough lithium reserves in India. So lithium is one of the critical strategic mineral for India. Okay, so there is an act called Mines and Minerals Development and Regulation Act, MMDR Act 1957. So under this act, if you are mining critical and strategic minerals, you must undertake compensatory afforestation on degraded forest land, minimum double the extent. So previously, I have to arrange compensatory afforestation equal to my land, but now if the conversion is for mining of the critical strategic minerals, I have to plant at least double the extent. Okay, usually government will resort to the mining of the government or government PSU, or only when government gives permission to any entity, they will mine these critical strategic minerals. So when they mine critical strategic minerals, at least minimum double the extent of the land I am taking has to be afforested. Okay. State governments allowed to grant initial working permissions for linear projects such as road works, other than blacktopping, concretization, railway tracks and transmission lines. So till now, state in principle approval can be given only when certain conditions are met. Okay, but now state government can give initial working permission. Okay, in principle approval state governments can now give for linear activities. That means like whatever already continuing. Like see this, imagine place A, then there is place B. Now there is a need for connectivity between these two places. Let's say this is the forested area, but it needs central approval. It is waiting for so long. This railway line has completed from this area and it needs to be completed to this end. So these two parts have been completed, but the area in the middle is not completed because it is a forest area. It needs permission. And this permission usually takes months and months. So state government in situations of linear projects, they can give initial working permission. They can give permission to start the work, but only less harmful works, not concretization or blacktopping. Okay, so normal safe works which can be like left alone and restored can be allowed by state governments. This is one modification. So if you see here, the Ministry of Environment, Forest and Climate Change holds the power to approve or reject proposals for the diversion of forest land or non-forest use. The ministry takes the final decision. considering the recommendations of the Forestry Advisory Committee. Okay, so this we have already seen. Previously, state governments could mobilize resources only after receiving the in-principle approval, but now, so this is the previous scenario, but now they have the power to grant initial working permission. Okay. So this Chief Conservator of Forests, CCFs, often had the regional offices of the ministry, okay, and act as the intermediate authority between state and central governments. Okay, this also we have seen. How this whole thing works, we have seen. Okay, now here it is given, the Amendment Act of 2023. So how this Act of 1980 was amended in 2023? So as I told you, in 1996, Supreme Court has given a judgment. So 1980 Act was implemented. Then in 1996, T.N. Godavarman, Thirumalpad versus Union of India case, Supreme Court has given a judgment. It is a landmark Supreme Court decision that established a broad and comprehensive definition of forest. Definition of forest expanded to include all areas recorded as forest in government record, state or union, irrespective of the ownership, recognition and classification. So irrespective of the ownership, whether it is private or government or NGOs, does not matter. It is seen as forest area. And it is recognized or not, it does not matter. Whether government is recognized or not, it does not matter. Okay. Classification, which kind of forest, it does not matter. Everything is forest. All areas that conform to the dictionary meaning of the forest. So intent is to protect the forest in reality, not only forest as seen by the government. So dictionary meaning. Areas that are identified as forest by expert committees set up by states following the 1996 order. So after this judgment, now Supreme Court has suggested to states, every state, to establish expert committees. Okay. So whatever happened till now, it is okay. Now you set up expert committees. Now you try to identify the forest. Whatever those committees identify as the forest, now under this Forest Conservation Act, you take that part also as forest. Okay. So for conversion of any of the area included in any of these definitions has to take permission from the central government. So this is in the 1996. Now to nullify or to reduce the effect of this judgment, now in 2023, again, Government of India has passed another act. So under this, what is the definition of forest under this new act? Land declared or notified as forest under any law. So again, they are saying, no, not dictionary meaning or expert committees, state expert committees, only which I declare as a forest under any law, like Indian Forest Act or any other law, only that thing I declare as forest is the forest. Okay. And the land recorded as forest in government records on or after 25th October 1980. So in 1980, 25th October, we have passed this Forest Conservation Act. So anything that is recorded as forest in government records after this date also included. Okay. This does not include land which has been officially changed from forest use to non-forest use purpose on or before 1996. So before this Supreme Court judgment, if any forest area is already converted into non-forest use, now this shall be exempted from the definition of the forest because this has already converted. Now if we include this area in the definition, like imagine in 1990, I have taken permission from the government and I have converted some area, or let's say at that time it is not a forest. It is not defined as a forest as per the Act 1980. Supreme Court did not give judgment yet. It is in 1990. I am in 1990. So I have converted some area into non-forest area. Then in 1996, Supreme Court has given a new definition. Under the definition, the original area I have taken might have come under the definition of forest. So people may challenge it right now. So retrospective effect, they have removed right now. Okay, no retrospective effect. So in 2024, Supreme Court directed states to follow 1996 Godavarman definition until the identification of forest land 2023 Forest Conservation Act amendment is completed. So Supreme Court now put an end to this debate. Okay, now I will stop fighting with the union government. Government has made an amendment act. It has given a revised definition as per its convenience. Okay, I will respect it. But till complete identification of forest land is done under this act, till this act is fully implemented, continue with my definition. So when this act fully comes into effect, when the complete forest land identified under this act, now this effect of this judgment ceases. Okay. So simply put, whatever declared by government is forest right now. Very complex thing, but try to understand the historical thing because this judgment becomes very important for prelims. Okay, read this till you understand. Activities excluded from definition of non-forest purposes. Which are the activities excluded from the definition? That means converting these areas into non-forest does not need the permission from central government. Establishment of zoos and safaris under the Wildlife Protection Act 1972 in forest areas other than protected areas. So if any state government or central government wants to establish a zoo or a safari, that means a trip into the wildlife, it does not need permission. Okay, unless it is in the protected areas. What are protected areas? National parks, Wildlife sanctuaries are the protected areas. So if a forest is outside of protected area and state government wants to establish a safari for promoting tourism, it does not need permission of the central government. Then ecotourism facilities. So ecotourism, people who wants to enjoy nature. So some facilities like some tiny huts or hotels, okay, eco hotels established in a region also excluded from the definition. They don't need permission from the government of India. Silvicultural operations. Silviculture means trees, okay, raising of trees, okay, cultivation of trees, that is a silviculture, including regeneration operations, that is also excluded. Any other purposes specified by central government. So central government even in future they can give a notification, exclude it from the definition of the forest. So they have taken full power. Simply put, they have centralized all the powers of definition of forest. Categories of land exempted from the provisions of the act. So which categories are exempted? Continuation of this, okay. Connectivity to a habitation or to a rail roadside amenity. So if government has to provide some rail or road up to 0.1 hectares along a rail line or road maintained by government is exempted. Now government wants to build some projects of national importance concerning national security, like a military base for army, navy or air force. So when such projects are needed, up to 100 kilometers from international borders or line of control, which is from the border in the Kashmir region between India and Pakistan occupied Kashmir, and line of actual control, which is the border region between Ladakh and the China occupied China region, okay. Line of actual control between India and China, line of control between India and Pakistan. Rest of the agreed border is the international border. So 100 kilometers from this border, if you want to build a project of national importance, you don't need permission from the central government. Construction of security related infrastructure. So any security related infrastructure, forest land up to 10 hectares. So up to 10 hectares, you can take up to 10 hectares of forest land, you can take for any security related infrastructure. Again, for base, camps, okay, some military related factory, etc. Okay, or roads for moving of military, etc. So all of these are fine up to 10 hectares of forest land. Defense projects, paramilitary camps, public utility projects. So this is for general security of all military, army, navy, air force, anything. Coming to left-wing extremism, okay, which is in specified areas of central India. So in those areas, up to 5 hectares, you don't need permission for central government, okay. If you want to take forest land up to 5 hectares, you don't need, okay. So no need to go in depth, just understand Forest Rights Act 1980. You try to understand Forest Rights Act 1980. You try to understand the T.N. Godavarman judgment. You try to understand the 2023 amendment. These three you have to understand, rest you can ignore, okay. You try to, you read, if you remember, it is fine. If you don't remember, it is fine. But this process for forest clearance, you should definitely understand, okay. Moving on to the next one, National Mission for Green India. So there is something called Green India Mission. Now this news is about that. So first see the background, then I will come to the news. Like all topics I'm expecting, I am explaining the background first, then I'm coming to the news. So we know this threat of climate change. Humans are doing many activities. Climate change is the next part. Very soon we will discuss those articles also. But for now, understand various activities performed by humans are threatening the climate of the earth. It is increasing the temperature. It is increasing the sea levels. It is killing many animals. We are destroying many forests. So there is so much of climate change. We are polluting the waters. So climate change is also affecting us. The number of cyclones are increasing. The number of heat waves are increasing. The intensity of heat waves are increasing. So there are many consequences of climate change. So to protect us from the climate change, we have come up with a plan called National Action Plan on Climate Change. Whole world is taking many actions. We have seen UNFCCC in our previous videos, an international convention organization working on climate change, and it has many meetings called Conference of Parties. There are many goals. Like I told you, they have met in Paris, okay, in 2015. It is called COP21. In the year 2015, they have met in Paris. They have come up with goals. It is called Intended National Determined Contributions, INDCs. These are goals set by India to India. Voluntarily, India has set some goals to contribute to the stopping of consequence of climate change. We want to contribute our part for stabilizing the earth. So we have come up with some INDCs, some 5 or 6 INDCs. Then some of these are revised and government is calling them Panchamrit. So don't worry if you don't understand all this. In later articles we will read. Okay, I am telling you whatever you need to understand the present article. Okay, so simply say we have set ourselves some goals. These are promises we are making to the world to contribute our part to prevent consequences of climate change. So we have some national action plan for climate change. Under this national action plan for climate change, we have 8 missions, okay, addressing different components of climate change. So one mission is National Solar Mission, which promotes renewable energy, solar energy. So using of fossil fuels, coal, natural gas, petroleum, etc. creates pollution. So using solar energy does not create pollution. So we are promoting solar energy. Then we have National Habitat Mission on Sustainable Habitat, that we will build our buildings, our cities in a sustainable way without harming the environment. National Mission for Sustaining the Himalayan Ecosystem, to protect and conserve the Himalayas. Okay, because you see all the glaciers in Himalaya are melting and the glacial lakes are expanding. Then we have National Mission for Enhanced Energy Efficiency. Energy efficiency. We will not waste energy. Switching on the light whole day in your room without needing it is a waste of energy. It will increase the heat in the atmosphere. It will waste so much of energy. So for energy efficiency, we have come up with a mission. We have National Water Mission to conserve water. We have National Mission for Strategic Knowledge for Climate Change. So strategic knowledge, we will do research about climate change. What are the sources, why it is happening? What are the consequences? What is the best strategy for this to counter this climate change? We will gain strategic knowledge. There is a National Mission for Green India. So green, promoting greenery, promoting forests, promoting wetlands. So this is the part that is taking care of natural wildlife, okay, natural forests, etc. Then there is National Mission for Sustainable Agriculture. So there are agriculture in a sustainable way. So many of our agriculture activities also harming the environment, like animal husbandry. Many animals release so much harmful gases like methane, which increases the temperature of the earth, okay. And this paddy cultivation also releases so much of methane, which is also increasing the temperature of the earth. So our focus is here, this mission, National Mission for a Green India, okay. So see the larger picture. I am talking about a specific mission in the National Action Plan. So what is the news? Ministry of Environment, Forest and Climate Change unveiled revised mission document of the National Mission for Green India or Green India Mission. So we have revised our mission, okay. So it is like revising our targets under this mission. So what is this Green India Mission? So we have something called National Action Plan on Climate Change. Under this, there are 8 missions we have seen. It is launched in 2014. It is one of the 8. What are the objectives of this Green India Mission? Increasing forest and tree cover. So forests and trees on forest, non-forest land. So we have a target of afforestation, planting trees over 24 million hectares. Improve ecosystem services, including carbon sequestration. So plants and forests have ecosystem services. Like ecosystem services means the natural benefits they give to other species. So plants take in carbon dioxide. More carbon dioxide in environment is harmful to humans. They take carbon dioxide. It is called sequestration. They will store inside their bodies and they will release oxygen, which is useful for humans, okay. They will provide food to humans and many animals. So these are like examples of ecosystem service. They provide us with food, okay, wood, also wood for fuels, etc. Okay, they protect us from storms, they protect us from floods, okay. All of these are ecosystem services. So improve ecosystem services of forests and trees, including carbon sequestration, okay. Then creation of additional carbon sink of 2.5 to 3 billion tons of CO2 equivalent by 2030. So this is also a part of Green India Mission, and this is also part of our INDC. We have pledged to the UNFCCC. I told you there are some targets called INDCs. So it is one among them. So we have promised the world that we create a carbon sink. Sink means storage. So we create a storage of carbon. So carbon, when it is in the soil or inside of the plants, it is fine. But if you release it into the atmosphere, like burning wood, burning fossil fuels, carbon is released into the atmosphere. It will react with oxygen and will create CO2. And CO2 is harmful for humans. And CO2 also increases the temperature of the earth. It is the primary cause of global warming and climate change. So almost equivalent to 2.5 to 3 billion tons of CO2, we promise it to store inside the earth so that we will counter the climate change, okay, by 2030. So these are our targets under Green India Mission. And they have some submissions also. This Green India Mission have submissions to improve forest quality and ecosystem services, to increase forest tree cover and restore ecosystems, enhance diversify incomes of forest dependent communities, etc. Okay. So from where will the funding come? Part of the funding will come from missions, allocation, and the rest from National Kampa Fund. I told you, that's why I told you in the previous article. So we have created this National Kampa Fund through a new act. So this any people who wants to convert forest area into non-forest area, they will deposit some money into this fund. Some of this will go into this Green India mission. Okay. The timeline of Green India mission is 10 years, 2021 to 2030. Implementation is bottom-up model with joint forest management committees. So throughout India, they will create something called joint forest management committees. So from bottom, they will take inputs from this. They will implement schemes with this, okay, plans from this, and they will go from bottom to up, okay. So this is about the Green India mission. So many strategies of this mission, which are linked to India's INDCs or NDCs, Nationally Determined Contribution Commitments, is given here. So it follows, this mission follows micro ecosystem approach. Micro ecosystem means that ecosystem on ground. There are different ecosystems. We have desert ecosystem, we have wetland ecosystem. Wetland means something that is in between the water body and land. Land is fully solid, fully dry. Lake is, or water body is fully wet. Wetland is something that has dry and wet characteristics, okay? Like a paddy field full of water, it is a wetland. Or the bank of a river or the bank of a lake. Okay, the shore of a lake. So it is having muddy water. So it is called, it is an example of wetland. So there are wetlands, we have mountains. So there are different kinds of ecosystems. Here focus will be on each ecosystem, micro ecosystem, like Aravallis, Western Ghats, Northwest Arid region, desert region, mangroves, okay, Indian Himalayan region, etc. Then we will also include private sector, okay, because funds with the government usually are not enough. We need more money to protect our environment. So we will leverage corporate social responsibility fund. There are something called CSR funds. So companies has to deposit 2% of their profits as CSR. Okay, companies has to use 2% of their profits for socially benefiting activities. It's called CSR. So leveraging CSR for restoration and village support, carbon markets. So carbon markets, like companies, there is a market for carbon, like companies are polluting right now the environment. So any company which is polluting too much, they will be put some penalty. Any company which is behaving responsibly and polluting less, they will be given something called carbon credits. That means, okay, you have earned these credits. It is almost equivalent to money. It is a piece of paper, certificate. So last year I have produced like 10 tons of CO2. This year I have produced only 5 tons of CO2. 5 tons of CO2. So I have saved 5 tons of CO2. I have protected the earth from 5 tons of CO2. So I will be given a certificate of 5 carbon credits for each ton of CO2 I have saved. Now I can sell these carbon credits to a company which is polluting too much. Okay, this is called carbon market. So they have created a carbon market, selling carbon markets from forestry, agroforestry via voluntary markets, etc. There are many ways of saving earth from pollution, like forestry, okay, shifting from non-renewables to renewables, etc. So carbon markets created. Green India Force. So they have created a force, group of people to implement this Green India mission also. Trained youth cadre for implementation and maintenance. Okay. So these are various mission strategies under this Green India mission, National Mission for Green India. So we have seen in the broadest way possible. Now move on to the Environmental Accounting on Forest 2025. So Ministry of Statistics and Program Implementation. They have released something called Environmental Accounting on Forest 2025 report. So notice the word environmental accounting. Okay, so traditionally we know economic accounting. We know accounting of budgets, we know accounting of bank accounts. This is okay, but what is environmental accounting? Okay, they have released a report on environmental accounting of forest. Okay, first understand this. So we have forests. So as I told you, forests have many economic benefits also. Forest gives us wood. So if I cut the trees in the forest, I can sell that wood for money. So I can equate forest with the number of trees and the amount I can earn with it. Like, and then now we know there is carbon credit which can be sold and bought. Now we have already seen forests are sinks of carbon. They take in carbon dioxide. So if I plant 10 trees, I can calculate how much carbon dioxide it is storing. I can equate that amount of storage into money also. So now we have found a new ways converting environment value into economic value. How much economic value we will lose if we cut down forest, if we destroy forest, or how much economic value if we will gain if we plant trees or new forest, if we create new forest. So conversion of economic things, calculating the economic benefits of environmental entities like wildlife is called environmental accounting. Okay, we will just estimate, we will not actually sell or buy, we will just estimate how much economic value this forest or river is providing us. Okay, so there is a international system also, UN system of environmental economic accounts framework. So now there is a global framework also, everybody has agreed. Now this has become the international statistical standard. So UN has given a framework for every country telling them how to calculate the economic value of an environment. Okay, how to calculate the economic impact of the environment or the contribution of that environment to the economy. Okay, it is developed by United Nations, European Commission and Forest and Agriculture Organization in 2012. So who are associated with this UN system of environmental economic accounts framework? System of environmental economic accounts framework, UN, European Commission and FAO. And we have adopted, our Ministry of Statistics and Program Implementation has adopted this in 2018. Okay, adopted this in 2018. Now from 2018, they are producing reports continuously. This is the 8th consecutive issue on environmental accounts. So this 2025 report is the 8th one. Who released it? Ministry of Statistics and Program Implementation. Do not confuse, it is not Ministry of Environment, Forest and Climate Change. It is Ministry of Statistics and Program Implementation. So this is one news. Here it is given another news. Okay. Now there is something called Forest Survey of India. So there is an organization called Forest Survey of India. It is based at Dehradun. So this Forest Survey of India, for every 2 years, biennial, it publishes something called India State of Forest Report. So India State of Forest Report, it tells us the state or the position of the forests in India. What are various types of forests we are having? Dense, medium, okay, less dense forest. What is the percentage of forest in the total geographical area of India? Whether forests are increasing or decreasing. Okay, so forest and tree cover status will be revealed in this India State of Forest Report. It will release every 2 years once. So latest one is India State of Forest Report 2023. So please keep updating yourself. If India State of Forest Report comes out before the prelims, India State of Forest Report 2025 comes before the prelims, it becomes important. So now the key features of this India State of Forest Report 2023 is given here. Okay, so we have something called National Forest Policy. I told you, National Forest Policy 1988. As per this policy, it is recommended that 33% of the geographical area should be covered by forest. Okay, for our stability, environmental stability and safe ecological balance between humans, animals, wildlife and atmosphere, to have a healthy balance on earth, at least 1/3, 33% of a given geographical area should contain greenery, forests. Okay, but this study shows currently it is 25.17% only, not 33% in India. But the good news is it is increasing. In the past study it is 24.62, now it is 25.17. So among this 25.17% total cover, 21.76 is forest cover, 3.41 is tree cover. Okay, so what is tree and forest? See here. First, forest area means area recorded as the forest in government records. Okay, so it is the forest area recorded in government records, recorded forest area. When I say forest cover, what does it mean? All lands more than or equal to 1 hectare in area with a tree canopy of more than or equal to 10%. So tree canopy means, see, when you see from top side, go to a place with trees, see from the top side, you will see the density of trees. So in a given area, if the density is more than 10%, it is called tree canopy. Okay, more than 10%, you can call it a tree cover or forest cover. So when it is more than 1 hectare, you will call it forest cover. When it is less than 1 hectare, you will call it tree cover. Okay, and this is irrespective of ownership, whether it is private or government, whether it is disputed or undisputed, and it also included plantations also. Okay, orchards, bamboo, palm, etc. So this is forest cover. Tree cover is all tree patches outside forest area which are less than 1 hectare, including all scattered trees found in rural and urban setting. So even in the places we are living, if there is enough tree cover, it can be included in the legal definition of tree cover in this report. Carbon stock. So next, all these terms become very important for the prelims. So these terms can be directly asked in the prelims. Okay, what is carbon stock? So as I told you, carbon, when it is not able to react with oxygen in the environment, it is safe. So it can be in the living animals, plants, or non-living biomass, like if a wood has fallen from the tree trunk has fallen from the tree or leaves have fallen from the tree, it is non-living biomass. So above ground biomass, that means trees, branches above the land, above ground biomass. Below ground biomass, that means like roots, many plants have deep roots inside. Dead wood, so that wood which has separated from the plant, so it is dead wood. Litter, so all the leaves, branches fallen away from the tree. And soil carbon, so soil also has so much carbon inside it. So all of this together, the amount of carbon in all of this is called carbon stock. Now what is protected area forest? So area notified under the provision of Indian Forest Act or other state forest act with a limited degree of protection is protected area. So whatever government declares under various act is protected forest. Okay. So normally under protected forest, all activities are permitted unless separately prohibited. Okay. So these are the definitions. Now again come back to the state of forest report, India State of Forest Report 2023. So we have 25.17. Now you know what is forest cover, what is tree cover. More than 1 hectare is the forest cover, less than 1 hectare is the tree cover. So where we have seen the increase, maximum increase is seen in the Chhattisgarh. So increase, in terms of increase we are seeing. Maximum increase we have seen in the state of Chhattisgarh, Uttar Pradesh, Odisha, Rajasthan. Then many states in India have this forest cover above the minimum required 33%. So we desire 33%, but as total India combined, we have only 25.17. That does not mean in every state it is less. Some states have so much cover, some states have too less cover. Okay, like if you see these states are having forest cover above 75% of their geographical area. So these states, Mizoram, Lakshadweep, Andaman Nicobar Island, these states and UTs, Arunachal Pradesh, Nagaland, Meghalaya, Tripura, Manipur. So let me tell you, all the northeastern states except Sikkim and Assam. Assam is a very large state, well-developed state, having Brahmaputra river, rich deltas, rich plains. So there is a less scope for forest here. Sikkim you can imagine it is in Himalayas, so less scope for forest again. So except Sikkim and Assam, all the northeastern states having forest cover more than 75%. In addition to this, these two islands, Lakshadweep and Andaman Nicobar Islands, which are union territories, which are very close to the equator, they are having very high forest cover. Very easy to remember. Okay. Apart from this, there are 11 more states, including these 8. There are 9 states UTs in India having more than 33%. If you see, currently we have 28 states and 8 UTs in India. So out of the total 36, 19 states UTs have forest cover above 33. So all the remaining, Delhi, Andhra Pradesh, okay, Maharashtra, all of these are having less than 33%. So now we are talking facts. So top 3 states with highest forest cover in absolute numbers in total area is Madhya Pradesh. So which state in India having highest forest area? It is Madhya Pradesh. Then Arunachal Pradesh, then Chhattisgarh. Top 3 states having highest percentage. So of the total land they are having, what percent of forest, what percent of area is forest? So if you calculate by percentage, Lakshadweep is 91.33% is forest. Okay, followed by Mizoram, which is also touching 90, Andaman and Nicobar Islands. Then comes the mangrove cover. So mangroves are special type of trees which live in coastal areas and adapted to seawater, brackish water. So in coastal areas, seawater and fresh water gets mixed, fresh water from rivers and seawater gets mixed. So in this kind of brackish areas, some unique trees called mangroves gets developed. So these mangroves total area is 4992 square meters. So roughly 5000 square meters. So compared to the previous report, area of mangroves have decreased. So in prelims, there can be a statement like this. Total area of mangroves in India is consistently increasing. So that statement would be wrong because from the previous report, we have seen a decrease of mangrove cover. Gujarat saw a decrease, whereas Andhra Pradesh and Maharashtra saw increase. Target under national determined contribution. So those INDC targets I told you in the COP21 we have set and later revised. So under this, we have made a target. As we have seen in the Green India Mission, we have promised the world that we will create carbon sink of 2.5 to 3 billion tons. So we have promised 2.5, at least 2.5, maximum 3 is, and we have already created 2.29 billion tons of additional carbon sink. So we have promised 2.5 by 2030, but we have already created 2.29 by 2026. So we have already in our way. Okay. So carbon stock reached 30.43 billion tons of CO2. So previously it was around some 28 point something. So from 28 point something, we have increased it to 30.43. So the increase is 2.29. So this is about the environmental accounting on forest. So hope you have understood this. Okay, I have tried to explain to my best of my knowledge. Okay, so let us see one more article. With this article, we will conclude today's session. So now this is about the wetlands, coastland and oceans. So we have seen land areas. Now we are moving to the wetlands and oceanic areas. I told you what is wetland. Wetland is the transition area between water system and land system. The first news article is UN High Seas Treaty. So it is a UN treaty and it is talking about something called high seas. So let me tell you first what is high sea. You have to understand something called UN clause, United Nations Convention on the Law of the Sea. Okay, United Nations Convention on the Law of the Sea. See, this is India. Now, UN has made a new agreement. This is an agreement between countries. This is an agreement between countries. So all the countries who are part of this agreement, they will comply with it. India is also part of this agreement. India also complies this. So what does this UN clause is? So this is India. This is land. Okay, this is Bengal, Andhra Pradesh, Tamil Nadu, like this. Okay. So to our land, from the you have gone to the beach. So there will be a shoreline. So this is the beach. This is the shoreline. Okay. From the land. Sorry. This is the land. Whatever the waters inside of India is internal waters. So there is Kolleru Lake in Andhra Pradesh. There is Chilka Lake in Odisha. All of these are examples of internal waters. Okay. So this is the beach, shoreline, the end of our land and start of the oceans. So from here up to 12 nautical miles. So nautical mile is a oceanic term. It is approximately equal to some 1.85 kilometer, etc. So up to 12 nautical miles, this ocean water, we call it territorial sea. Territorial, it is ours. It is related to our land. It is in the name. Okay. So our national airspace. So on the land, all the flights moving on our Indian land has to take our permission because it is a national airspace. So this national airspace also extends 12 nautical miles into the ocean. Okay. So from here to here, it is called territorial sea. Okay. This is territorial sea. Now from the end of the territorial sea, if you go to another 12 nautical miles, it is called contiguous zone. Okay. Simply mean continuous zone. Zone continuing the territorial sea. So from 12 to 24 nautical miles from the shore. This is shore, this is 0, this is 12, this is 24. So between 12 and 24 nautical miles from our shore, we will call it contiguous zone. Now we have all the rights here. This is almost like our land. So anyone who is moving here has to take our permission. Okay. Unless they come with good intentions, everyone has to take permission. Okay. If anyone wants to do any activity, any fishing here, they have to take our permission. Anyone wants to move a flight over this area, they have to take our permission. So we have many rights here in the territorial sea, but our rights will decrease as we go towards the oceans, towards the high seas. So we will lose some of our rights in the contiguous zone. Like if a ship is moving in this region, we cannot question it if it is coming with good intention. There are some rules to be followed here. There are some rules countries does not have to follow here. Now this is part of international airspace. See here, between 12 and 24, it is no more our space. It is international space. So if China is moving its aeroplane here, we cannot question it. But if China is doing the same here, we can question it. So again, so this 0, 12, 24. Now I'm starting again from 12, not from 24. From this 12, okay. Again, sorry, I'm starting from the shoreline. From this shoreline, you can go up to 200 nautical miles. That means from here, if you see 176. Okay. From 176 nautical miles from the end of contiguous zone, including these two, are 200 nautical miles from the shore. This is called exclusive economic zone. Okay, this is called exclusive economic zone. What does this mean? It is our economic zone. We have economic rights in this region and exclusively to us, not to others. We may not have other rights. Like if somebody is navigating here on ship, India cannot question it. Somebody is traveling through spacecraft here, we cannot question it. But we have economic rights in this region. That means if there is natural gas in here, we can access it. If there is some mineral on the seabed here, India can mine it. Okay, so we have exclusive economic zones in this region. Now beyond this 200 nautical miles from our shore is called high sea. Okay, so beyond 200 nautical miles from our shore is called high sea. So high sea is beyond our national jurisdiction. So we lose all kinds of rights from this end of exclusive economic zone. No more national jurisdiction. Our national jurisdiction keeps on decreasing from the shore to this end of exclusive economic zone. Here we will completely lose it. So now we are talking about this high sea region where no country has any kinds of rights. This is heritage of all humanity. This is international commons. Everyone has equal right on these high seas. Okay, we are talking about this. We are talking about the resources, biological resources, etc. Let's say there is a shrub here in the bottom of the sea. There is some excellent plant which can create some new medicines. Like it, for example, I'm saying, let's say it can cure cancer. It has some amazing properties. It is high sea. It has, no one has right over it. But let's say some company from an advanced country like America, they have come here, they have taken this plant and they have created cure for the cancer. Now they are selling it throughout the world for very high price. This is kind of unethical benefit. Or some country coming here, China coming here and taking all the fish from this region. This fish usually moves in this region. So Indian farmer, Indian fishermen are reliant for fishes in this region. But China is coming here and killing all the fish here. So this is unsustainable harnessing of biodiversity in this region. So there are many threats to the usage of biodiversity in these high seas. It should be distributed fairly across the world. Developed countries, unfair countries shall be prevented from accessing these resources harmfully against the interest of the developing countries. So UN has come up with a new treaty for these high seas. Now we are talking about the new treaty called UN High Seas Treaty. Hope you have understood the background. Okay. So let me just summarize this here because it is also given here. Okay. So this UN clause, it is called the Constitution of the Oceans. It is the primary international treaty governing the use of seas and oceans. It is adopted in 1982, entered in force in 1994. 171 parties, including India, is a member of it. India is a member of this treaty. Very, very important because India is not a member of UN High Seas Treaty. The other treaty we are talking right now, India did not sign it yet. India did not ratify it yet. Okay. So we have seen territorial sea up to 12 nautical miles, full sovereignty. We have seen contiguous zone up to 24. So we have some limited rights like customs, immigration, sanitation, security. Then exclusive economic zone up to 200 nautical miles. We lose all other rights except exploration and use of marine resources. Then high seas beyond EEZ, which is beyond national jurisdiction. Okay, everybody has freedom of navigation, overflight, fishing, research, etc. Everybody has rights. Now, deep sea bed mining. Okay, so if you mine any resources in this deep sea at this high sea, it's called deep sea mining. So it has to be given, rights has to be given by International Seabed Authority. Okay, because it is common heritage of mankind. If India wants to mine some mineral here, it does not need anyone's permission. But beyond the exclusive economic zone, if India wants to mine, India has to take the permission of International Seabed Authority. Okay, and there is a dispute settlement mechanism also called International Tribunal for Law of Sea under this UN clause. Okay, so hope you have understood the previous treaty, which is in prevalence since 1984. Now coming to the new treaty which were made recently. Okay, so this treaty is made in 2023 and it has came into effect recently in 2025. That is in news. So Treaty for Conservation and Sustainable Use of Marine Biological Diversity of Areas Beyond National Jurisdiction, also known as High Seas Treaty, has been ratified by 60 countries and will enter into the force. So this treaty is officially called Conservation and Sustainable Use of Resources for Marine Biological Diversity of Areas Beyond Biological Diversity Beyond National Jurisdiction. Okay, BBNJ agreement, or called UN High Seas Treaty. It has ratified by 60 countries, so now it has entered into force. Originally it was made in 2023. It is legally binding. Once you ratify it, ratifying means, see, signing means going to the United Nations, signing, okay, we are interested in this. UN, you can go ahead with this. This is signing. Ratifying means coming back to India, making a law in India. So ratifying is the actual following. Because why countries need to ratify? Because no one has the power over India. India is the sovereign country. India will decide what kind of laws, rules applicable in India. So every international agreement we have to separately ratify inside India. So when you ratify, it becomes legally binding. Once you ratify it, there is no going back. You have to follow it. Okay. So legally binding international treaty under UN clause. So it is a supplementary treaty to the already existing UN clause. So this is the third implementation agreement under UN clause. So under this UN clause, we have made previous agreement, international implementation agreement for exploration and extraction of mineral resources. Then we have made another agreement for fish stocks, okay, conservation of migratory fish. Now this is the third one for complete marine biological diversity. So what is the aim? To ensure conservation and sustainable utilization of marine biological diversity in areas beyond national jurisdiction, okay, beyond exclusive economic zone. Who will be implementing in India? India did not yet ratified it. Okay, India did not yet ratified it. We have not made a law for this, but all the activities related to this will be implemented by Ministry of Earth Sciences. Okay. So this treaty normally mandated to enter 120 days after 60 countries have ratified it. So you can see this UN clause has 171 state parties. 171. Of these 171 parties, till now only 60 countries ratified. But in this agreement, they have mentioned that if 60 countries have ratified, it will come into force. Okay. Now India has not ratified, so it is a complex situation. We don't know yet which will applicable to us, which will not applicable to us. Okay. So members not part of UN clause also can join. So this is a supplementary agreement of UN clause, but still those people who are not part of UN clause can also join this new high seas treaty. So what is in this treaty? It has mechanisms for area based management tools. Okay, like there are some areas like marine protected areas. So just like we have national parks, biosphere reserves, wildlife sanctuaries on the land, we can also have protected areas in the ocean called marine protected areas. So including all those, they have different mechanisms. Okay, normal area, protected area. What are marine protected areas? Marine protected areas are clearly defined geographical spaces, recognized, dedicated and managed through legal or other effective means to conserve marine biological diversity and ecosystems. Okay. Now it has also a mechanism for sharing financial and non-financial benefits from commercial application of marine genetic resources. Like I told you, now a rich company from USA has taken this genetic material of a plant and now it has devised some new benefits from it. Now how to share the benefits? There is a mechanism. Capacity building and transfer of marine technology to assist developing countries. So if we make an agreement and give powers to all, developed countries have already an advantage. They have developed technology, they have enough money. So developing countries will be at disadvantage. So to compensate for the disadvantage, there is a mechanism for supporting these countries with transfer of technology and helping them to build capacity. Okay, new research, new scientists, etc. And there is a provision for environmental impact assessment for high seas activities such as deep sea mining. So environmental impact assessment means before mining in the high sea, first you will do an assessment of how much impact it is going to create on that particular environment in that area. Okay, so this impact assessment. Then there are some exceptions. So whatever is written in this particular act, like if a ship is doing this kind of activity, if a ship is doing this kind of research, if a country is doing this kind of research, okay, if a ship is catching fishes or polluting the sea. So there are some provisions dealing with different kind of scenarios in this agreement, but they will not be applicable to warships, military aircrafts, okay, and any kind of navy activities. Okay, and they are also not applicable to fishing and fishing related activities that are regulated under other any international laws. Okay, if it is not regulated by any act, fishing acts also come under this new high seas treaty, but if they are regulated by other act, they will not come under this. Okay, again, all of the obligations concerning this marine genetic resources and their digital sequence information. So any activities using the genetic resources of this marine biodiversity, they are also not applicable to parties' military activities. So for military purpose, if I take some particular animal and plant and its biological genetic information, I don't need to share because there is a provision for sharing, but it is only for civilian purpose, commercial purpose, not for military activities. Okay, and government vessels, non-commercial service also exempted here. Okay, so this is the total concept of UN High Seas Treaty. So let us stop here. In the next video, let us continue with the Ramsar Convention on Wetlands.